Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is November 5th. Happy election day to everybody out there. Taking a look at the infrared satellite imagery. I did pause it. There's some glitches going on with some of the display here, so I'm just going to show you the ridge of high pressure out here. This clockwise rotation is going to dry us out here for a couple of days across the Pacific Northwest. There could be some morning fog, and there is a pretty interesting lenticular cloud show. I'm not sure if that is visible from the surface coming up the Washington Cascades there, but we're not going to remain dry for long, because we've got some additional systems that are going to be impacting us here as we go towards the end of the week. And again, some fairly robust frontal systems kind of showing up in some of the models here. We'll dive into those details as we go through the video here this morning. Taking a look at some of the winds that went on yesterday. Look at this. Victoria, I know, was up over 60. Look at Quilliot at 61. Bellingham, mid-50s. I think a place in the southwest BC, the mainland there, hit over 60 miles per hour. 62 there at Whidbey Island. A lot of places gusted up over 50 miles per hour. And if we scroll on in for places east of the Cascades, I mean, look at some of these wind speeds up across the higher terrain, up over 60, very close to the Oregon-Washington border there. Willapa Hills, 60. And I know Astoria hit 59 right next to the bridge. It's not showing up on here, but some pretty gusty winds up the coastline, and even some for the Willamette Valley as well. Look at Lewiston, Pullman, 46. A very windy day there yesterday. Now, taking a look at what is going on and what is coming up. So there goes our system. It is swinging through, and we're building that ridge of high pressure, as I showed you on the infrared satellite imagery. So we're going to dry out for a couple of days here. But again, it is not going to last long. As this system starts to swing through here Thursday night, we get a stronger system that's showing up in some of the model runs now as we go on in through. This is Friday afternoon. This is Friday night. And here we go on into Saturday morning. And that would be a fairly robust system in of itself as we go through this weekend. And then we've got additional troughing here and some cold air aloft moving in over the area as we go towards the November 10th, 11th, and 12th time frame. I'll show you some more of that here in a moment. Just kind of glancing at this quickly, I was looking at fog potential for tomorrow morning. Let's scroll through here Wednesday morning. You can see there is that fog potential for some of western Washington and maybe some places in eastern Oregon as well, the lower mainland for British Columbia also. So heads up for that if you're going out and about tomorrow morning, and then maybe a little bit more here Thursday morning as well. Kind of typical in the wake of a frontal system when the winds die off and we got some moisture around. But taking a look now, we're wrapping up these winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories for some of the higher terrain. There still is some precipitation amounts ongoing, some precipitation that's ongoing right now, and I'll bring over the Doppler radar and kind of show you that. You can see this Convergence Zone bands. Looks like that one is probably coming off of Vancouver Island in the northwest flow. You can see this can be prolific snow producer here across some of the higher terrain, and you'll see that one kind of die off and the Convergence Zone redevelop here as it comes across Everett and out towards the foothills and the Cascades. This one trying to reach down towards Snoqualmie Pass as we speak. So that is ongoing this morning. Still some snow flying for the higher terrain. If you're across the backcountry, you may see that snow start to pick up for some areas, especially down towards I-90 or even Snoqualmie Pass. Could get a couple inches out of this, so that could cause some travel issues there. Now let's jump back to where we were, if I can find it here, and we're going to just go ahead and close that out so I can go back to my webpage. But you can see Seattle yesterday, 55 degrees. That's right about average for this time of year. 0.3 of an inch of rain. We're off to a pretty good start, but we do average 6.3 inches of rain for the month of November. We're already up over 1 inch. If you look at the record precipitation amounts, virtually every single day at one point has had some very heavy precipitation for SeaTac anyway. Check that out though on November 7th, kind of low, November 8th, some low-lying fruit there. We could probably break that one in one of these upcoming years, less than an inch. But you see some of these, look at that, November 9th, almost 3 inches of rain in a 24-hour period. Then you can see November 20th, the record is 3.4. So yes, this is our rainy month. Now, if we take a look at Hoquiam, you can see the winds calm here over the next couple of days, but look at what's coming off through next week, and you can see the ensemble starting to give some hints at the active storm track pointed back at the Pacific Northwest. This is Bellingham, something similar there as well after a few very calm days here coming up. And now, if we take a look at the extended forecast a little bit here, this is the artificial intelligence as of last night. There goes our system swinging through. There's our ridge of high pressure drying us out for a couple of days. But then you can see the Gulf of Alaska troughing starting to get going again. And we start to swing some frontal systems back towards the Pacific Northwest. And then we got a chilly looking trough that continues to show up as we go through the very end of the weekend and on in through next week. Look at that system right there. That's going to be fun to watch here. We could be building up some more mountain snows, and we could be getting reinforcing shots as well as we scroll up into the extended forecast. A pretty chilly looking pattern here as we go into November. We'll see if this continues to trend in the models. Taking a look at the GFS now, so let's see if we have any model agreement with that. There goes our system, the very cold air aloft at about 18,000 feet. Then you see the ridge of high pressure here off the coastline. That's going to dry us out for a couple of days. But then as we scroll towards the end of the week, you can see that jet stream starting to point back at the Pacific Northwest. And look at this slug of cold air comes rolling in as we go through the weekend. Mountain snows, reinforcing shots, active weather all the way through next week. And we'll scroll out in the fantasy forecast here and kind of see these continued polar lobe attacks on the Pacific Northwest and maybe even driving down the west coast of North America. We'll see how that trends also. So yeah, we're not going to remain dry for long. It doesn't look like anyway. And we'll take a look at that right now in the European artificial intelligence. What would that mean? So here we go. The ridge of high pressure will be with us, but then you quickly see we start to turn things a bit more rainy as we go towards the end of the week. And again, this frontal system, in some of the models, the European deterministic was showing this with a little bit more punch, but it does show precipitation there. And then look at that low pressure system parked right off our coastline there. That would bring some very cold air aloft with it. And then you can see almost an atmospheric river looking signature here as we go on into the later portion of next week. We'll be watching these closely because it looks like we're going to remain active and break those down one by one. Taking a look at the 15-day precipitation anomaly, you can clearly see the above average for a lot of the Pacific Northwest. And again, we'll see how that trends. Don't take that with a grain of salt as of right now. And then if we take a look at over the short term here, precipitation amounts is the 50th percentile in the ensemble member. So here we go. Again, on Friday, we start to bring some of that precipitation back. Actually, as of Thursday for western BC and Vancouver Island, swoops down across the region. And then we get another frontal system and an upper level trough will be moving over the area as we go on into the early portion of next week. So yeah, this dry period is not going to last too long. Here's total snow in inches. And again, like I showed you, some of these systems are going to be on the chilly side. So if we scroll through the end of the week coming up here, you can see some of these mountain snows starting to pile up as we go through next week as well. So yeah, maybe we'll get a really rare winter here. We won't melt much of the snowpack. I shouldn't even say that because at some point we're going to get kind of a warmer atmospheric river that eats into these snow amounts that we are getting through early November and late October and early November here. But anyway, you can see this looks quite promising for additional snowfall amounts as we head towards the mid-month period of November. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook below normal here a lot of the southwest, includes some of the Pacific Northwest. And look at that above average signal. They see that active storm pattern there at the Climate Prediction Center as well. This goes through November 14th. Here we go, much of the west below normal as we go towards the mid-month period also, and that should be no surprise after what we just looked at. Here's the 8 to 14 day. A lot of the lower 48, to be honest with you, is under the above average signal, including the Pacific Northwest. And this is something interesting. Experimental extended forecast. You can see they are picking up on that stormy pattern here, November 12th through the 14th. It may even be starting earlier than that, but this is an experimental extended product, and you can see that goes on in through about November 18th. Mountain snows, the risk of heavy snow there. And check out the wind. Risk of high winds, California, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana. It would include British Columbia as well. But yeah, so let's enjoy this these couple of days off. Gives us a chance to dry out and try to clear up or clean up any of that wind damage that you might have got yesterday. One of my cheaper weather stations I didn't secure properly fell over and broke yesterday on my roof, so that kind of caused a crash in the house there. So I'll have to go clean that up today. But yeah, I'll go check out the park, see if there's any tree damage. I'll enjoy these couple of days off because the storm track will be returning as we go towards the weekend and on into next week. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.